We have a really great subject matter we're going to talk about in this particular video, one that I've had this question several times from clients and from folks in my Facebook group, and that's, how bad should I really feel about the pain my spouse is going through? I mean, should I be carrying that? Should I feel bad? And we're going to unpack that a little bit, so stay tuned. So instead of answering this question right out, I'm going to instead talk about boundaries for a minute, because I think it's important that we understand how the boundaries in our lives work when it comes to how we feel about our emotions, things of that nature. Our feelings and our husband's feelings, how they're feeling, belongs in our individual boundaries. They are not for anyone else to take responsibility for. They belong with us. I can't fix how someone else feels, and they can't fix how I feel. So when you're, wondering how much responsibility you need to take for another person's feelings, I'm going to say you don't. Your boundaries are clear. Their boundaries need to be clear as well, and you stay within your realm. Now, let's unpack this though, because that doesn't mean that you ignore or you pretend like they're not feeling bad or you don't care. That's not what I'm saying at all. Here's what your boundaries tell you to do when your husband or anyone is in pain, is hurting. Your boundaries tell you to care, to show compassion. Be compassionate with any other human who is hurting. No matter if they are the reason they're hurting, if they brought this pain upon themselves, we still have compassion for them. Okay, so our boundaries tell us, you know what, you need to still have compassion for this person. So definitely do that, right? Our boundaries also tell us to comfort if we feel like we can. Sometimes when we are also hurting in a really deep way, it's difficult to give comfort to somebody else. It's hard to show them comfort when we ourselves need comfort. But if you're in a place where you can show comfort to your husband and he's in pain, show it. Show him comfort. Better yet, sometimes it's okay to ask, how can I comfort you right now? What's the best thing I can do to comfort you? And see what they say. Some people are not touchy-feely when they're in pain. They just kind of want to be left alone. So keep the communication open in regards to that. But still, it's okay. It's okay to comfort them, right? Our boundaries also tell us that, it's okay to feel pain as they feel pain. It doesn't, just because they're in pain doesn't mean we give up ours, and vice versa. Okay, it's okay to hurt simultaneously. It's okay to do that. And you don't elevate his pain over yours, and he doesn't elevate yours. Basically, we just need to acknowledge, as two human beings who've chosen to do life together, that it's okay to both hurt at the same time, and that we're going to get through this. But again, I'm going to keep saying this throughout this video, because I want to make sure we all understand he can't fix our pain, and we can't fix his. We just don't have that kind of power in another human being's life. It's up to them. It's up to us. When we're in pain, we have to process that pain. No one can process it for us. No one can take it away. No one can make it better. It's just something we have to deal with, right? Now, our boundaries also tell us things we should not do when our husband's in pain. Our boundaries tell us that we should not take responsibility for that pain unless we have caused it. Now, I'm assuming that, when I get this question, that people are referring to pain regarding to the affair. Like they're feeling pain because they're upset at themselves, or they're upset that the affair happened, or they're upset that the marriage is in the position that it's in, or whatever it may be. I'm assuming that is what the question's about. So if that's the case, that's their pain. That's their situation that they're having to deal with. And we need to give them the space and the time to do that with respect, so that they can process on their own. But if we've done something to harm them, absolutely, we need to apologize for that. But saying, I'm sorry you're hurting, to someone who we didn't I mean, you can say, I'm sorry you're hurting, but don't take responsibility for why they're hurting. Maybe that's a better way to put it. So our boundaries tell us not to do that. Don't take responsibility for it. It's not our responsibility to fix it, to help them even. We don't have, again, keep in mind, we all have a role to play, right? And it's not our job to run into other people's lives and fix how they're feeling. How they're feeling is how they need to feel right now. And we need to let go of the desire to take full responsibility for that. Our boundaries also encourage us to not make it worse. Sometimes we are pretty bitter and angry, and I get that completely. And when they're hurting because of the damage that's been caused due to the affair, our instincts want us to rub it in. They want us to say, well, if you hadn't a blah, 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 you wouldn't be in this position right now, or whatever. Our boundaries tell us that's not okay. If we have good, healthy boundaries, we stay out of it. It's not our place. And believe me, I know that we question sometimes if they're hurting enough, and we want them to hurt more. Because if we're hurting, they should hurt too. But I promise you, they're hurting. Men show hurt very differently than women. So if you don't think they're hurting, they are. Okay. And it's, again, if we have healthy boundaries, then we don't jump in there and do that. We stay within our boundary when it comes to how they're feeling in a given moment. Now, I'm giving you all of this boundary information because the question of, should I feel bad that he's sad, or should I feel bad for his pain, is a question that I say, well, you feel however you choose to feel about it, but don't take on the responsibility for it. You cannot fix it. I cannot fix somebody else's pain. I can be present. I can comfort them. I can show compassion. I can even show empathy for what they're going through. But I don't take that responsibility onto myself, because all that does is just compound my own pain and my own suffering I'm going through. We're both hurting. Husbands and wives both, regardless of who the wayward spouse was, there is pain to go around. It's not easy. It's a difficult journey. But don't take it on you. Just be present. And I want to also add, be present as you feel comfortable being present. If you are underneath a bunch of pain yourself and you're not sure if this is the right thing for you to be doing right now, that you're not strong enough to really help him, don't. Find him a really fantastic counselor so he can lean on that person to help him through this. You need to worry about you and your own healing right now. Just don't take the responsibility for what he's going through. And keep in mind too that we tend to become very codependent after we find out about the affair. If this is really hard for you to do, when he is sad, you jump into fix-it mode because you can't stand the fact that he's sad, and you've got to fix it because it's just triggering you all over the place that he's sad, because if he's sad, that means he's going to get back in contact with her, and what are you going to do? Okay, that's codependency. Their feelings should not dictate our feelings and vice versa. We can manage our feelings, and we do have somewhat control over how we feel. If they're sad and you automatically become sad too, you might want to examine that. If their sadness means that your entire day is ruined and you start doing everything you can, you start cleaning the house, you make his favorite dinner, you do everything you can, that's codependency, okay? All of that, if his being sad dictates your actions and your feelings, there's a problem there. If you lived within your own boundary, and that's why boundaries are very important, especially if you're pulling yourself out of codependency. If you are truly living within your boundary in a very healthy way, someone over there that you love very much could be sad. Now, you might be sad that they're sad, and you might worry about them and go, oh my gosh, here, let me give you a hug, or is there anything I can do to help you, or whatever it may be. But you will be able to walk away from that situation and live out your day without that particular thing completely owning all decisions you make for the day, everything you feel about that day, everything. That's how you have to break the cycle of codependency. And we become that way after the affair because of our fear and our PTSD. We're so afraid that their behavior is telling us that they're going to leave or they're going to recontact her, or their behavior is reminding us of how they were when they were going, behind our back with this other person. So we're triggered by that, which then makes us desperate to fix it and all this kind of stuff. So that's where the codependency comes in. We walk on eggshells around them. We're so worried about them. We want to fix it, and when they're happy, we're happy, and when they're sad, we're sad, and it's all this mismatched, relationship that's just really not healthy. So look into that if you find that's the case. But really, just remember, your emotions live within your boundary. I actually did an entire video on emotional boundaries and how important they are. We have got to learn how to do this, and we have to learn how to respect our spouse's boundaries as well, because they too have emotions within their own boundaries. Not everything is about us. They could be having a rough day and it has absolutely nothing to do with the affair or us or anything. So don't bring it upon yourself. Don't take responsibility for it. Be present if you can. Be compassionate if you're able. Provide comfort if you feel comfortable doing that. But don't take responsibility for it. Okay? I hope this video has been helpful to you. If it was and you've liked some of my others, I encourage you to subscribe to my channel. I'd love for you to get notified every time a new one of these pops up. And if you have any suggestions about future videos, put that in the comments below. And I look forward to hearing what you want some information about regarding affair recovery. And I'm a coach, and I would love an opportunity to tell you how I can help you get past your affair recovery and come out on the other side the most confident and really a self-aware woman you have ever been. And I know I can help you do that, and I look forward to having a chance to talk to you about that. I have some free resources below, and if you watch that video, it tells you how to get in touch with me. And in the meantime, guys, remember those boundaries. Do that boundary work, okay? All right, see you later.